Today's about the psychology of the mainstream. And what better individuals to use as an example than two online globe representatives.
Cool. Free psychoanalysis for the win. Well, isn't that nice? It turns out that Adam, Level Earth Observer, is going to give me some free psychoanalysis. He's gone up in my estimation. It would have cost me a fortune to get myself analysed. And of course, I'm a nice guy, Adam, so don't forget to watch right to the end of the video so that you see my psychoanalysis of your good self. Go ahead, Adam, let's start my treatment. And roll VT.
First up, we've got a character known as Mr. Sensible.
That's me.
Which is bizarre considering he defends things online that are scientifically impossible and yet has the cheek to call himself Mr. Sensible.
What do you mean? All those well-established scientific theories that are backed up by all of known science and the facts and evidence? Is that what you mean, Adam?
But of course, when we dig a little bit deeper like I'm gonna, it becomes quite obvious Mr. Sensible doesn't have a Scooby-Doo clue about how his own mind works or even his own words and what he stands by.
Oh, well, it sounds as though I need some help, Adam.
Literally, Scooby-Doo is less confused than this character. So let me set the scene. He's having a bit of a rant here with an experience of someone who got a flu bug at work a few weeks back.
No, Adam, not flu, but SARS-CoV-19, which according to Johns Hopkins Medical Centre has a mortality rate roughly 10 times that of most strains of flu.
And as a result, in his own words and message, which of course are incredibly revealing,
of course,
Mr. Sensible here shows how he propagandized, deluded and bewildered he is by the fact that he makes instant attachments based on one person's behavior and then instantly starts grouping individuals all together based on one person's behavior.
You're all individuals! Yes, we're all individuals! I'm not. Shh.
Why? Because he's fallen for the propaganda, the traps, the pitfalls that the news and the mainstream media push, and that is divide. To get the ego involved, and as a result, you cannot discern. This own man's own words are going to make a mockery of himself and show how illogical this man actually is. He claims to be sensible and logical, but he's actually deluded and lost in a sea of delusions and mainstream propaganda, and is a perfect mainstream puppet to push this nonsense that is going on at the moment.
You use your tongue prettier than a $20 whore.
Shit kicker.
Anyway, let's get to the story, or Mr. Sensible's message, and then we're going to break it down using his own words. Dear, oh dear.
Oh dear indeed.
So Mr. Sensible says, so who is upset and annoyed and really angry? That'll be me.
No, Adam, it'll be me.
Today I sat at work opposite a guy who didn't look well and was getting worse. He even put his coat on and had the shivers. The three of us said to him more than once, go downstairs and get a test. He kept saying no, maybe, perhaps. It ended up with a girl shouting at him, so he did. He tested positive, for fuck's sake.
There you go. Someone who was very obviously ill, refusing to test, eventually tested positive.
He actually handed the test to someone and said, look, I tested positive. So now she is worried sick as well, and he was sent home.
Illustrating how stupid he was. Having tested positive and having handled that test, he passed it to somebody else. No wonder she was concerned.
Well, that's not good, I hear you say. It's worse. He apparently has been feeling unwell for 2 or 3 days and didn't test himself. He lives with his girlfriend and she is unwell and she did test herself and she was positive.
Well, I'm going to be interested in your psychoanalysis of my reaction then, Adam, because my feeling is that if you're living with someone who is COVID positive, you've been feeling ill for 2 or 3 days, you still decide to go to work without having had a test, you struggle due to coughing, sneezing, shivering, and then refuse to get a test, I would say that that person is being quite thoughtless, to say the least.
What kind of idiot goes to work feeling unwell when they're living with someone who's positive for the flu?
No, Adam, the COVID antigens test actually tests for COVID and not flu.
I am clinically vulnerable. This is Mr. Sensible saying this. Sally, which I presume is his wife, is borderline vulnerable, extremely vulnerable. My in-laws who both live with us are both extremely vulnerable. My middle daughter works in a care home for the elderly, all extremely vulnerable.
Yes, and because a twat couldn't be asked to shove a swab up his nose, he put us all at risk.
Oh, and tonight, Sally and I, the three girls, 3 partners were going out for a nice Christmas treat, steak dinners at the local pub, and now it will just be the 7 of them. I'm having to isolate myself from everyone else in the house for a few days from my office to see if anything else develops. I just tested negative, but it's only been 12 hours.
That's right, Adam. Unlike Mr. Gormless from work, I have some consideration for other people.
So I am pissed with those who don't get the V, those who don't social distance, etc. And with this idiot from work, you bet your arse if he wants to go clubbing, blah, blah, blah. So he's just having a rant. But notice how Mr. So-called sensible, off the back of this one individual, now expects everyone else to take part in a medical procedure. How ignorant of you.
Ignorant, really, Adam? We're in the midst of a pandemic. Millions have died. In the UK at that time, approaching 200,000 people a day were falling ill with it. And you think I'm ignorant for being cross with people who deny all known medical science, who refuse to vaccinate, who refuse to take basic, simple precautions. And that makes me ignorant, does it?
And I get it if you're a vulnerable health. I get it. You need to look after yourself, have a good diet. That's the most important shield you can have. Not relying on drugs, mate.
Oh, you get it, do you? Well, as a vulnerable person, I have exercised all precautions I can, only for that all to be blown out the window by some idiot. And I'm afraid eating tofu and salad is not going to stop a virus.
And certainly not being propagandized, your mind being propagandized. Clearly an overreaction fueled by the fact your ego runs wild within your head, my friend.
Yes, the propaganda of medical statistics and the known efficaciousness of vaccines, as opposed to listening to some unknown on Facebook.
Where you've just suddenly attached a whole group of people who have totally different reasons for maybe not wanting to participate in that medical procedure. You've attached all of those individuals, many super responsible people, you've attached them to one irresponsible idiot.
Well, I'm glad you called him an irresponsible idiot, because that's exactly what he was. The problem is, there's an awful lot more of them.
You're not very sensible. That's not very logical. I get it if you're vulnerable. But the problem is, I've seen other messages, Captain Sensible, Mr. Sensible. You don't even back your own words, as we're about to see. I wouldn't mind if you lived really healthily, rather than blamed others for your health, particularly as you're vulnerable, as you put it.
I blame no one for my health. What I do blame people for is jeopardising the health of others without understanding their situations. He has no idea what my medical health is. He has no idea who else works in the department who perhaps is allergic to the vaccinations and hasn't been able to have them. Or perhaps they've had a solid organ transplant and have a non-existent immune system. It's bloody stupid. He didn't even need to take the vaccine. He just needed to have the test, which would have showed he was positive, and then he could have removed the risk. But he refused.
But as we're about to see, you're a hypocrite, deluded. You don't even understand your own mind.
Here I am, brain the size of a planet, and he says I don't understand my own mind. Understand my own mind, I ask you. I am depressed.
So I'm going through some of this man's messages, this man who claims to be sensible. And here he is going on about eating pork pies. Not exactly healthy food, particularly if you're vulnerable, fella.
Vulnerable due to pork pies?
This just makes it really, really bad for you. So-called Mr. Sensible.
Oh, hold there a minute, Adam. Look, Yellow Earth Observer gets another kicking by Planner Walk, with a guest appearance by yours truly. Why don't you respond to things like that, Adam?
Giving the game away by showing how propagandised you were by grouping everyone together, a massive group of people off the back of one irresponsible person. You claim to be sensible, but clearly you've been propagandised. But what makes it even worse is when we come down here, and look at the shit you're eating, fella.
Really, Adam? That's actually a full Scottish breakfast served by one of the top hotels in Edinburgh. I'm sure the chef would like to hear your opinion of the food he produced, and actually of the 6 or 7 nights we stayed, that was the only morning I had a fry-up. The others, I had toast and fruit. But thank you for your concern.
You're going about you're vulnerable? Look.
Is anybody else feeling hungry right now?
That is crap food, mate. If you're going on about your health, you want to build the shield from within, mate.
Well, I'm not surprised he died, Doctor. I mean, after all, he did have a fry-up once when he was on holiday. You gimboid.
Not rely on fucking drugs. I mean, you call yourself sensible. You eat pork pies and crap. Look at the very next message now. It's in fucking McDonald's. With his character.
Oh, look, it's Conspiracy Cats.
A man who lies daily.
No, Adam. It's Conspiracy Cats.
Look. What did you eat? Look what he's eaten.
Actually, Adam, I think that you'll find that there were 4 of us at that table. And if you notice, about half the fries were actually left.
And this man has the cheek to go on about others, about them affecting his health, well, he doesn't even take any care of his own health himself. The man's a hypocrite. He goes on that he's vulnerable and that he's sensible, but yet he eats pork pies, breakfasts, some of the most toxic food out there. You might, mate, want to actually try and act sensible. Maybe eat properly. Maybe go to the gym. Put a bit of colour in them cheeks.
Are you having trouble defending your flat earth beliefs? Well, stop. Why not instead have a pop at a debunker for having eaten a pork pie once when he was on holiday? That'll show 'em.
You're a hypocrite, mate. You don't even know how your own mind works. Clearly, you are affected by the propaganda and controlled by the media. You claim to be sensible, but your own actions and words show you to be a stupid, irresponsible, dumb hypocrite. We know that anyway. You represent the globe online, which is scientifically impossible.
Scientifically impossible? Well, right now it is the current science, Adam. Of course, that will all change when Sleeping Warrior gets his Nobel Prize for extreme cleverness with eggs.
Dear, oh dear. And these are the people that represent the globe online. They don't even understand their own minds.
Well, that's true. But then, at least we have minds.
And the propaganda poisons the minds of these people. They are deluded. And this is why I don't entertain them. Only rarely for educational purposes. Sad.
Oh, well, allow me to retort.
So it's time to analyse you, Adam. It would appear that you hold flat earth beliefs, but unfortunately are unable to substantiate them with evidence, despite what you claim, by the use of cranes. This is witnessed by the fact that I challenge you to a debate and that I would give £100 to the registered charity of your choice, win or lose. That was then backed up by others, making a total of approximately £3,500 for your charity. And yet, has this debate been organised? No. Have you emailed me? No. Unfortunately, I can't contact you because you blocked me. I wonder why this is, Adam. My diagnosis for this is extreme yellowness. You're fully aware that you cannot evidence your position, that you would not be able to stand up to scrutiny within a debate. Hell, you can't stand up to scrutiny in your comments section. The first step on your road to recovery is #debate Mr. Sensible. Contact me, Adam. We can arrange the debate, and approximately £3,500 will arrive at the doorstep of a charity of your choice. Unless, of course, you're happy continuing suffering from extreme yellow. But perhaps we need a second opinion. Let's consult the fruit dude about your father's
own fear of failure has caused him to make his son the embodiment of all of his own deepest anxieties about himself.
Whoa. Thank you very much, Sigmund Freud.
most triumphant. Until next time, stay sensible.
Shut up and sit down.